It is late. Everyone else has been asleep for hours. The house is quiet in a way it never quite is during the day. And something in you, something that has been pressed down and managed and performed all day, finally starts to breathe. You are not scrolling for distraction. You are not avoiding sleep exactly. You are just here, fully here, thinking clearly for the first time since morning. Feeling things you have been too busy to feel, writing or reading or sitting with your thoughts in a way that actually goes somewhere. And it strikes you not for the first time that this is when you feel most like yourself. This quiet, dark, unobserved hour. This is when you arrive, and then the alarm goes off, and you do it all again. You have probably wondered about this. I came across this recently, and it named something I had felt my entire life without ever understanding why. Why the night feels like freedom. Why the day feels like a performance you have to stay in character for. Why the version of you that exists after midnight seems more real, more honest, more yours than the one that shows up for everything else. And here is what almost nobody says out loud. It is not the hour. It is the absence of an audience. It is the first moment all day that nobody needs anything from you. That you are not being watched, evaluated, required. That you can simply exist without producing anything, or managing anything, or being anything for anyone. You are not a night owl by nature. You are someone who found the only hour that belonged entirely to you, and you have been protecting it ever since. Psychologists call what happens during the day for people like you emotional labor, the constant, invisible work of managing how you appear, how you are received, how your presence lands on the people around you. For people who grew up in environments where their authentic self was too much, or not enough, or simply not safe to show, this labor starts early and runs constantly. By the time the day is over, you have been performing in some capacity since the moment you woke up. Your nervous system learned that the daytime version of you needed to be calibrated, adjusted, monitored. There is a pattern called hypervigilance, the constant scanning of your environment for cues about how to be, how to respond, how to stay safe in the social landscape you are moving through. And for people who carry this pattern, the daytime is one long, low-grade threat assessment. Not dramatic, just constant, like background noise that never quite turns off. There is also something called the default mode network, a part of your brain that becomes most active when external demands drop away, when you are not performing, not producing, not being perceived. Research shows that this network is where your deepest thinking happens, your most creative connections, your most honest self-reflection. For most people with a history of emotional suppression, this network barely gets to run during the day. The night is when it finally opens up, and that opening feels like coming home. Seneca wrote, "Recede into ips as much as you can. Go back into yourself." For you, 2 a.m. is where that finally becomes possible. It is not self-destruction. It is self-recovery. The problem is that recovering yourself at the expense of sleep is a trade your body is making that it cannot sustain. The cost shows up everywhere. In the exhaustion that follows you through the morning, the slight unreality of the first few hours of the day, the way you feel most yourself at the very hours when the world has stopped asking you to show up. At work, you push through the tired, caffeinate through the fog, and do everything that is required. In relationships, you are present and engaged during the day, and then quietly unavailable by evening, because you are already rationing what is left. And alone, at night, for just a few hours, you finally let yourself have a thought that goes all the way to the end, a feeling that gets to finish. This is the part that most psychology channels completely skip. You might find that you are more creative after midnight than at any other time. Not because your brain is wired for it, because for the first time all day, no one is watching. You might find that your best conversations happen late, that something in you opens up when the performance pressure drops. You might find that sleep avoidance is not laziness, it is reluctance. The reluctance to end the only hours that feel fully yours. You might find that the transition from night back to day feels like putting a costume back on, like agreeing again to be the version of yourself that fits in the container the day requires. None of this is who you are. It is what you learned. Healing begins with a question. What would it take for the daytime to feel as safe as the night? Not identical, but approaching that quality of ease, that quality of permission. Learning that rest is not the abandonment of self is where this starts. The reason the night feels like freedom is because it is the only time you have given yourself permission to stop earning your own presence. Healing means slowly, carefully, extending that permission into daylight, into interactions, into moments where someone might be watching, and choosing to be yourself anyway. Nervous system regulation is part of this. Practicing small moments during the day where you drop the calibration deliberately, where you say the authentic thing instead of the managed one, where you let a feeling exist in your face before you smooth it over. These moments feel risky at first. They feel like exposure, and they are the exact practice your nervous system needs to learn that the day can hold you too. And therapy is where you get to be your 2 a.m. self in front of someone during business hours, unfiltered, unperformed, received without requiring you to manage how you are landing. For someone who has been performing all day their whole life, that hour is not indulgent. It is essential. Jung wrote, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." The 2 a.m. version of you is not a night owl habit. It is the part of you that has been awake this whole time, waiting for everyone else to stop needing things so it could finally speak. The goal is not to be fixed. It is to become whole. You are not broken for living most fully in the hours when the world goes quiet. You are someone who found the only time that felt safe enough to be real, and who has been holding on to it with both hands. But you are allowed to bring more of that self into the light now. Slowly, on your own terms. More of this is coming, because you deserve to understand every part of yourself, not just the midnight one.